In the quiet early hours of March 28, 2005, a chilling call to 911 would shock a nation. 5-year-old Tia Hernlen, barely old enough to understand the gravity of what had happened, calmly described a nightmare that unfolded before her eyes. Her parents, Julie and Aeneas Hernlen, lay unresponsive in their bedroom, victims of a brutal attack. The voice on the other end of the line was steady but innocent. Tia, unaware of the full weight of her words, explained that there was blood on the floor and a bullet nearby. The dispatcher, struggling to comprehend how such a young child could be in this situation, guided her through the call as authorities rushed to the scene. This is the story of a young girl's bravery, a family's tragic loss, and a justice system that failed to act before it was too late.
911, where's your emergency?
Hello.
Hello. Is everything okay?
My mommy and daddy,
Uh-huh.
I think there's a bullet on the floor.
There's a what?
And there's blood coming out of my dad's mouth, and he fell off the bed.
He did. Where's Mommy at?
I don't know. I think they're dead.
What do you mean, sweetheart?
I don't know.
Okay, your daddy's on the floor. How old are you?
I'm 5 years old, and I have a dog in the house.
Okay, baby, okay.
And
Let me get somebody right over to you. Did you go in your mommy and daddy's room?
and there's blood.
All over the place?
Not all over. There's blood on the bed and blood on the floor.
Oh, my goodness. And you have your little doggie with you?
And 3 cats.
Well, and you got some cats, too?
3 cats and 1 dog.
Okay. Are you the only one there besides Mommy and Daddy?
I said Mommy and Daddy, and they didn't even answer.
Okay. Okay, what I want you to do, honey, I want you to stay on the phone with me. And what made you wake up tonight?
I think I heard a gunshot.
You heard a gun?
Yes, and I see a bullet laying on the floor. I think it's a bullet.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Who has a gun in the house?
I don't see a gun, but I'm scared.
Oh, sweetheart, I will not let anything happen to you.
Can you send the deputy down?
I promise I will. And you're only 5 years old?
Mm-hmm.
You are so smart for 5 years old. Wow. Are you off of school this week?
No, I go to school next year.
You do? Oh my gosh, you're not even in kindergarten yet?
No.
Was there anybody else in the house besides you and Mommy and Daddy tonight? Like an uncle or anything?
No, there's no robber in the house.
Okay. Well, I didn't think there'd be a robber, sweetheart. Did you have anybody staying over the night with you guys tonight?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, and the doors are all locked and everything like that. Where are you in the house?
Well, I was in my room sleeping until I heard a noise shot and it woke me up.
Oh my goodness. What part of the house are you in at now?
I'm in the one, it's yellow, a whole yellow house, a green with it, a little bit of green, and a pink door.
Oh my goodness, that sounds really cool. Did you pick out the pink door?
No, my mom picked out the colors.
Look, I bet you that's beautiful. Does Mommy and Daddy have a car in the driveway?
2 cars.
2 cars? What kind of cars do they have?
My mom has a Toyota.
What color is that Toyota? Is it dark or gray or silver?
It's red.
Red? Okay. What kind
silver.
of car does Daddy have?
He has a Jeep. It's black and
Okay,
white.
listen to me. Is your phone the kind of phone you can take with you and walk around? There should be an officer at your front door. I need for you to take your phone with you and walk over to the door and open it for me, okay? And I'm going to stay on the phone with you, okay?
Okay.
Welcome to the Crime Series. I am glad to have you join us on another video. Kindly subscribe, like, and share. Let me know where you are watching from. Tia Sky Hernlen was born in the year 2000 to Julie Morgan Hernlen and Aeneas Hernlen, a young couple living in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. From the very beginning, she was the heart of their small family, deeply cherished and protected by her parents. They worked hard to provide her with a stable, loving home, filling her early years with warmth, learning, and adventure. Julie and Aeneas had built a life centered around their daughter, ensuring that she had the best possible upbringing. They were the kind of parents who truly valued their time with their child, engaging in playful activities, bedtime stories, and long afternoons at the beach. Tia, even at a young age, was described as bright, curious, and full of life. She had an impressive vocabulary for a child her age and showed signs of being particularly observant, something that would later be evident in her heartbreaking 911 call. Despite being only 5 years old, Tia displayed a level of maturity beyond her years. The nurturing environment her parents had created for her had helped her develop confidence and strong communication skills. She loved animals, especially her black Labrador, Liza, who was her constant companion, and the 3 cats that lived in their home. Her world was simple, filled with the small joys of childhood, playing outside, cuddling with her pets, and feeling safe in the home her parents had built. Her father, Aeneas, was a dedicated, hardworking man who had a deep love for surfing and the ocean. He shared this passion with his daughter, often taking her to the beach and letting her play by the waves. Julie, a devoted mother and an ambitious student, often brought Tia with her to the library while she studied. She wanted her daughter to grow up knowing the importance of education and curiosity. Julie Morgan Hernlen and Aeneas Hernlen were not just parents. They were best friends, adventurers who built a life of love, passion, and dreams together. Their story was one of commitment and shared aspirations. Julie and Aeneas first met in the 1990s, both drawn to the coastal lifestyle that defined much of their personalities. They shared an instant connection, bonding over their mutual love for surfing, the ocean, and adventure. Julie, with her bright personality and strong determination, was a free spirit, always looking forward to new experiences. Aeneas, known for his easygoing yet driven nature, found in Julie a perfect companion, someone who challenged and supported him in equal measure. Their relationship flourished quickly, built on a foundation of trust and shared values. They spent long afternoons catching waves together, feeling the rush of the ocean beneath them, and later watching the sunset on the beach, dreaming of their future. It wasn't long before they knew they wanted to build a life together. The couple decided to settle in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, a place that perfectly suited their love for the ocean and peaceful living. They worked hard to create a stable foundation for themselves. Aeneas, known for his craftsmanship and hardworking nature, pursued a career that provided for their growing family, while Julie continued to chase her academic dreams. In 2000, their lives changed forever when they welcomed their daughter, Tia Sky Hernlen. Becoming parents strengthened their bond even more. Tia became the heart of their world, and they were devoted to giving her the best life possible. Julie, while balancing motherhood, remained passionate about her studies. She enrolled in Daytona Beach Community College, working toward becoming a paralegal. She was determined to help others navigate the complexities of the legal system, believing that everyone deserves proper representation and fairness under the law. Despite the typical struggles of young couples, managing work, school, and raising a child, Julie and Aeneas supported each other unwaveringly. They weren't just partners in marriage, they were each other's cheerleaders. Aeneas admired Julie's perseverance and intelligence, while Julie appreciated Aeneas's steady nature and ability to make her feel safe. They complemented each other perfectly. Julie was the planner and the thinker, while Aeneas was the doer, always making sure their family had what they needed. They had dreams of expanding their home, traveling with Tia to see the world, and growing old together. Julie and Aeneas were on the brink of achieving the life they had worked so hard to build. Aeneas had secured a new job, and Julie was set to graduate with honors in May 2005. Their future was bright. But tragically, the dreams they had worked toward were stolen from them in a single night by a stalker, David Edward Josen. If you found this story compelling and appreciate the way we bring real-life cases to you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Your support helps us continue to uncover the truth and share these important stories. Like, share, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. David Edward Johnson was a man whose life was defined by poor decisions, paranoia, and a dangerous sense of resentment. At 33 years old, he had already built a reputation in Volusia County, Florida, as someone with a volatile personality and a history of legal troubles. Johnson had a checkered past with law enforcement. While he was not a high-profile criminal, he had been arrested multiple times on drug-related offenses. His most significant arrest occurred in November 2004, when authorities discovered that he was cultivating marijuana and was in possession of steroids. This arrest carried severe consequences, as it threatened his freedom, financial stability, and personal reputation. The drug charges Johnson faced could have led to substantial jail time, fines, and other legal repercussions. With his court date approaching, the pressure mounted, and his erratic behavior escalated. He became fixated on finding someone to blame for his predicament. Johnson became convinced, without any evidence, that Julie and Aeneas Hernlen had tipped off law enforcement, leading to his arrest. This theory was entirely unfounded. Authorities later confirmed that the Hernlens had no involvement in his case. However, Johnson's paranoia and growing anger clouded his judgment. He saw them as the reason for his misfortune and became obsessed with seeking revenge. Despite having no evidence against the Hernlens, Johnson began stalking and harassing them. He frequently drove past their home, sometimes slowing down or lingering outside for extended periods. He made harassing phone calls and made it clear that he blamed them for ruining his life. Julie Hernlen, deeply concerned for the safety of her family, took meticulous notes on each incident. She documented dates, times, and descriptions of Johnson's behavior, keeping a record of his escalating threats. Recognizing the potential danger, she filed for a restraining order in January 2005, explaining that Johnson was stalking, harassing, and threatening them. However, the court denied her request, citing a lack of direct violence and insufficient proof of stalking. This was despite her detailed documentation and clear distress. It was a devastating decision, one that ultimately left the Hernlen family vulnerable and without legal protection. With his court date looming and his paranoia deepening, Johnson became consumed by rage. He was convinced that his life was falling apart and that the Hernlens were responsible. His behavior became even more erratic, and people close to him failed to recognize the severity of his instability. On the night of March 28, 2005, Johnson reached his breaking point. Armed with a gun, he set out to exact revenge on the people he wrongfully believed had betrayed him. His actions that night would forever alter the lives of those involved. He bypassed any security measures, quietly slipping into the house while its occupants were asleep. The home, once a sanctuary for the Hernlen family, became the stage for an act of violence. Julie and Aeneas Hernlen were asleep in their bedroom when Johnson entered. There was no warning, no chance for them to defend themselves. As they lay in bed, Johnson opened fire. The gunshots echoed through the house as he shot them before fleeing the scene. Julie was killed almost instantly, while Aeneas, though critically wounded, clung to life. In the adjacent room, Tia Hernlen lay asleep, undisturbed at first, but the loud sounds jolted her awake. Disoriented and frightened, she got out of bed and made her way toward her parents' bedroom, where she discovered a horrifying sight: her father lying on the floor, pooling around him, and her mother lifeless. Though too young to fully comprehend the horror of what had happened, Tia understood something was terribly wrong. After carrying out the attack, Johnson fled the scene, leaving behind a terrified child and 2 wounded parents. However, his escape was not an attempt to evade justice. He had no intention of facing the consequences of his actions. Instead, he drove back to his own home, where he took his own life. Back at the Hernlen home, young Tia knew she needed help. Somehow, despite the terror and confusion, she remained calm. She picked up the phone and dialed 911. Her call, handled by dispatcher Donna Ciuffani, would later be recognized as one of the most heartbreaking and extraordinary emergency calls ever made. Despite her age, Tia was able to clearly describe what had happened. She told the dispatcher that her father was hurt, that her mother was not answering. Authorities rushed to the scene, but by the time they arrived, it was too late for Julie. Aeneas was still alive, but barely. He was immediately transported to Halifax Medical Center in Daytona Beach, where doctors fought to save him. Unfortunately, his injuries were too severe, and he passed away the following day. By the time the sun rose on March 28, 2005, Tia Hernlen had lost both of her parents in an act of violence she could never have anticipated. As news of the event spread, the New Smyrna Beach community struggled to come to terms with what had happened. Vigils were held in memory of Julie and Aeneas. Friends, colleagues, and classmates shared stories of their kindness, their dreams, and the deep love they had for their daughter. The tragedy also raised larger questions about domestic safety laws, the effectiveness of restraining orders, and the responsibility of law enforcement in preventing violent crime. Many felt that the system had failed the Hernlens, that warning signs had been ignored, and that something more could have been done to protect them. In the center of it all was Tia Hernlen, now orphaned. In the days that followed, arrangements were made for her care, and efforts were launched to ensure that she would have the support she needed to navigate life without her parents. The case would go down as one of the most heartbreaking and preventable crimes in the region's history, a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked threats and overlooked warning signs. The tragic event galvanized the community. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers came together to support Tia. Fundraisers were organized, and trust funds were established to ensure her future well-being and education. The case prompted discussions about the effectiveness of restraining orders and the legal system's role in protecting individuals from potential threats. Many questioned the criteria for granting protective orders and called for reforms to prevent similar tragedies. In the wake of the horrific events that took the lives of Julie and Aeneas Hernlen, Tia Sky Hernlen faced an uncertain future. The sudden loss of her parents left her orphaned, vulnerable, and in need of a stable, nurturing environment where she could process her grief and begin to heal. After the police arrived at the Hernlen home and took custody of Tia, child welfare authorities had to make an urgent decision regarding her placement. Given the traumatic nature of what she had endured, it was critical that she be placed in a familiar, loving home rather than entering the foster care system. Authorities quickly determined that Tia's maternal grandparents would be her primary guardians. They resided in Central Florida, away from the home where the tragedy had occurred. This move was seen as the best option to provide Tia with stability, emotional support, and a sense of continuity with her extended family. Moving in with her grandparents meant that Tia was surrounded by people who loved and cared for her, ensuring she had as much normalcy as possible. Given her young age, her guardians faced the challenge of helping her understand and cope with the sudden and violent loss of her parents. Her new guardians took measures to protect her from unnecessary media exposure and public scrutiny. The 911 call had gained national attention, and the details of her parents' deaths were widely covered by news outlets. To shield her from further distress, her family limited her exposure to television and newspapers, and kept her routine as normal as possible to provide comfort and security. Dispatcher Donna Ciufani and the responding officers were lauded for their professionalism and empathy. Donna's ability to keep Tia calm during the 911 call was particularly commendable and highlighted the critical role of dispatchers in emergency situations. Years later, Tia's story serves as a poignant reminder of the potential consequences of unaddressed threats and the importance of proactive legal measures. It underscores the need for communities to support victims and advocate for more robust protective laws. The tragic events that befell the Hernlen family continue to resonate, emphasizing the importance of vigilance, community support, and systemic reforms to ensure the safety and well-being of individuals facing threats.